Shane Fleming. I'm a filmmaker, avid film fan. I see a lot of movies. I collect old films in old film prints, like actual. And New Yorker. Or one of the reasons why I love New York so much. There's so many movie theaters, you can see so much stuff. And that's like church to me. I figured that out during COVID. I was like, I have Catholic grandparents, and they go to church every day, which I didn't even know was a thing you could do. And I'm like, why the fuck do they do that? And then all the movie theaters closed. I'm like, oh, I get it. My church is Film Forum and IFC and Metrograph. That's why I go. It's like the one sacred thing I have. It's like I can sit in the dark and look at a big thing, and just for a while, just like get transported. And that's a very religious experience, I think. I get it now. I was like, why do people believe in God? That's crazy. And then I'm like, oh, I believe in Humphrey Bogart. I made a film when I guess I was like 7. It was called Art. I was really interested in making films with actual film because I was fascinated with the history of this technology, and I was born too late to really use it and have it easily accessible. There's this group in Brooklyn called Mononoaware, and I emailed them because they had these workshops to make films on Super 8 and 16mm. And I sent them an email, be like, your workshop really shouldn't be at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday because lots of people have bedtime, you know. Steve Cosman, the guy who ran it, was lovely enough to come to my house and teach me to do it so I wouldn't have to go to like the actual classes. And I went around and just filmed stuff in my neighborhood, which is the East Village. And I didn't like it for a long time afterwards because I was like, oh, this is cringy. I was just a little kid who was just trying to do something pretentious. But I like it kind of more now because I realized it was just a kid trying to, you know, show what I knew. Most of my friends are like in their 60s. One of my friends, Bruce Goldstein, who was the programmer at Film Forum, I think I met him. I was probably 8 or 9, and he was about 60. And now I'm 18, and he's gonna be 70 in a month. Was it alienating to have friends who were older than me? It was less alienating and more just like living a weird double life. I couldn't fully relate to either groups because my interests were so far divided than my peers, and my older friends grew up at a different time. There was always a part of distance with both groups. When did I feel like I was getting understood? I think that's a great thing about living in New York is that there's basically something for everyone. I can't think of one thing in New York that is not represented, and New York happens to be great with old films and filmmaking, and it's very well understood here. I saw this last night. It wasn't that good. It was fine. It was good. It just wasn't great. A little too repetitive. It's about a guy he marries an executioner's daughter, and then he becomes the executioner so they can apply for this apartment. And then he actually has to do the executing. He's like, no, no, no. But I'm like, just do it. I just got an apartment in Manhattan. I'd kill a man to keep it. And I was very fortunate to have that because my parents, they're not film buffs. I did not get into it because of them. So it was just a good coincidence that I was born here because they're both from the Midwest. I can't imagine what I would have been like if I moved back to Milwaukee or something. Like I would have been a completely different, I would have been a mess. When I was 10, there was a contest that Turner Classic Movies was holding for their 20th anniversary, where you would send in a video of you introducing one of your favorite films, and whoever won would be able to introduce a movie on air with the late Robert Osborne. In the fine print, it said you had to be 18 to enter, but I just did it anyway, even though I was 10. I sent in a video of me introducing Charlie Chaplin's The Kid. And I ended up being one of the winners.
I'm back with one of our biggest fans who's been asked to pick one of his favorite movies, join me in the red chairs, and talk about why he loves classic films. And my next guest is one of our youngest viewers, too, and eager to tell us why he loves classic movies. He's Shane Fleming from New York City. Welcome, Shane.
Hi.
Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me here.
And that kind of got me a weird claim to fame for a while. I would have people recognize me in the film scene at these theaters. People would say, oh, weren't you that kid? That's what I became known as, that kid. And now I'm not a kid anymore, so my novelty is worn off. It was relieving. It was, I mean, it was like, okay, that's something I don't have now, but I recognized it. I'm glad I didn't go into adulthood thinking like, why doesn't everyone think I'm charming still? I'm like, okay, there it is, good. Now I can be whatever. Now I'm still a young person, but I'm not that kid. It's good to make a name for yourself and not just for being young. Like a year ago, I interned for the Safdie brothers for about 4 months, which was great because they're some of the best filmmakers working right now, and I got to work in their office and talk to people who were involved in that, and that was really great. Through that, I PA'd on a film that they produced called Funny Pages, and through that, I got a small role in the movie, and through me asking some higher-ups at A24, the people who were distributing it, I was able to get a pass to go to the premiere, which was at the Cannes Film Festival. I got to be with one of my oldest friends, Miles, Owen, the director, who's a friend of mine now, and Daniel, who's the star, he's a friend of mine now, and it was just very emotional. And even though I'm 16th billed, I went on stage with them, even though I'm in the movie for a minute, and they are the actual stars. So I went from like 30 seconds of thinking I'm going to sit in the audience to being on stage at the world premiere of this movie at Cannes, and that is fucking emotional whiplash for you.
Shane Fleming, Miles Emanuel, these are the actors of the film. If you worked on the film, could you please stand
People were applauding, and I began just to sob, which I never do. Just like in public, and there's now like the official Cannes photographs of me going like, duh! I was crying just because the movie, Funny Pages, it's a very special movie about young people and old people and sort of those relationships that are, you know, unorthodox, in a similar way that I've grown up. Because, you know, it's so niche. I thought that something like this only I could understand. Like I'd never seen someone else who had that experience. And then Owen made this movie, and it's like, oh, he hit the nail on the head. If a young me had seen that movie, I would have been so overwhelmed because it really gets it. I think, yeah, that's really profound actually. I think about young me being able to see that movie. It would have made a lot of sense. It would be a great comfort, I think. I hope there's someone like me in 100 years who's interested in something that I did, or anyone else in this period did. Because I think if I can respect the people who were making art in the 20s, the 1920s, because it's the 20s now, and there's someone in the next 20s who can respect this 20s, I hope there's just someone like me. Or something. That'd be nice.